Sophia's mother threw a fortune at me, just to get me to leave her daughter. So, to break up with Sophia, I lied. I told her I'd found a sugar mama, that she was just a fling. But hearing this, she crumpled, kneeling at my feet, desperately begging me not to go, even saying she'd be my little dog from now on. But I walked away without looking back. A year later, we met again in a gym. I was a lowly fitness instructor, and she had become an investor in our company. She threw a gold card in my face, a mocking smirk playing on her lips. "You like money, don't you? Take this. From now on, you'll be my dog." The moment I saw Sophia, a chill shot up my spine, freezing me in place. Yet she continued towards me, nonchalant, the click-clack of her high heels on the floor nearly merging with the frantic beat of my heart. The closer she got, the more pronounced the horror on my face became. Sophia let out a soft laugh, reaching out to grab my chin, forcing me to look up. Her thumb brushed against my trembling lips. "What's wrong? Not happy to see me?" "Sophia." I thought I recognized that silhouette from before, but I couldn't quite place it. Sophia slowly tightened her grip, a playful, mocking smile curling her lips. "I really didn't expect it to actually be you. Michael, this is a members-only gym. Aren't you going to explain why you're here?" Seeing me stand there stunned and silent, my face deathly pale, Sophia raised an eyebrow. "Boring." She gave my face a little shake, then lightly pushed me away. As she turned, she dropped a parting shot. "I'll tell the manager not to let just anyone wander in." That sentence jolted me. My body trembled, and I rushed forward, grabbing Sophia's arm tightly. Why do you have to target me like this?" I asked, my voice thick with suppressed anger. Sophia merely tilted her head slightly, her gaze sweeping over me from head to toe. A faint smile lingered on her lips, a look that might seem alluring to anyone else, but it sent a deep chill through my core. "Target you? You're not worth targeting." "Then why?" "Because seeing you look so pathetic is just too amusing," she replied with a raised eyebrow. "Isn't it, Sophia? If this is about what happened before, I can—" "No need." Sophia cut me off coldly. "I told you if I ever saw you again, I wouldn't let you off easy. I've given you the courtesy of letting you leave on your own terms now. Aren't you satisfied?" "Couldn't argue." Sophia sneered, brushed my hand off her arm, smoothed the wrinkled sleeve of her blouse, and started to leave again. Unexpectedly, I stopped her once more. "Please, Sophia, I need this job. You're having difficulties? What does that have to do with me? Why should I help you? Whatever you want, if I can give it, I'll give it all to you." I closed my eyes, forcing the words out through gritted teeth. It was this contradictory mix of desperation and submission that slightly piqued Sophia's interest. She finally turned back to face me properly, echoing my words. "Give me anything? Be more specific. I don't quite understand what you mean." "Anything." Sophia murmured my words, then raised her index finger, poking firmly at my Adam's apple, then tracing a path down to my collarbone. "Like being my dog." I desperately needed the money. If I got fired from this gym, short of selling myself, I had no way to quickly raise the amount I needed. I could see the thick layer of humiliation in her eyes, but I still lowered my head, giving a slight nod. "Ha? Michael, where did all your backbone go? Plenty of men want to throw themselves at me. What makes you think I'd still be interested in you?" Unlike her usual detached tone, Sophia's voice was now dripping with undisguised scorn. The look she gave me was exactly as she said, devoid of any emotion, no longer seeing me as different from anyone else, just like looking at a cheap, disposable toy. And it was in that moment that I truly, clearly understood my position. I'd never before experienced the feeling described in books as falling into an icy abyss, but the shame born from my own inflated self-importance instantly blanked my mind for a few seconds. When I came to, I wished I could just turn and flee. "You'd throw away your dignity for money now?" Sophia hadn't missed the embarrassment on my face or my emotional turmoil, but her humiliation continued relentlessly, as if stating bland facts. "I have reasons. I have to do this." I took a deep breath. Even with my eyes closed, I could feel Sophia's intense gaze fixed on me. "Then let's hear them. But spare me the sob story if that's what you're planning." It was the first time Sophia had seen such anguish on my face. Her eyes narrowed slightly, and a sudden, stirring sense of thrill flickered within her. She wasn't surprised when I didn't answer. Growing up in upper-class circles, she'd met countless people like me, heard countless variations of my excuse. It was always about desperately clawing upwards, willing to wear a collar and act like a dog for the sake of the fame and fortune hanging just out of reach. What irked her, though, was that when we had first gotten together, she had offered to help me, but back then, my pride and dignity had made me push her further and further away. Don't make that sickening face. It's not like I forced you to do this, is it? It was then I noticed Sophia's gaze turning somewhat calculating, like she was evaluating something. Though I hated to think lowly of myself, her look was exactly like someone carefully inspecting merchandise before buying. But, seeing as you're my ex-boyfriend, I suppose I can give you another chance. After all, I'm genuinely curious to see how you plan to please me. Sophia narrowed her eyes meaningfully, her right hand coming up to my earlobe, pinching the flesh gently between her fingers. If you perform well today, I might consider your request. It was purely a statement treating me as a plaything. I remained silent, swallowing the blatant humiliation. I wanted to pretend to be nonchalant, uncaring, but her words still stung. This emotion also reflected on Sophia's face. But unlike my dejection, she seemed rather enthusiastic, taking a few steps forward and pushing me into the stairwell. I averted my gaze, forcing myself not to retreat. Looks like you haven't learned a thing these past 2 years, Michael. Sophia, I know I don't have much standing, but let's at least get out of here first. I tried to push away from her embrace. What? Worried someone will see. Her voice lifted at the end, her fingertips pressing firmly against my lips. Now you care about your image? How ridiculous, Michael. If you're begging, at least have the right attitude. What makes you think you have any right to bargain with me now? Though I hated to admit it, Sophia was right. Whether it was the current me or the past me in front of her, I never had the right to make demands. Perhaps the resistance on my face was too obvious, annoying Sophia slightly. She gave me a cold look and actually stopped her advances. Looks like you still haven't figured it out. In that case, no, I can do it. Seeing Sophia about to leave, I quickly pulled her back. Under her puzzled gaze, I slowly took off my thin jacket. In the end, Sophia didn't do anything. She just stared at me intently for a long moment, then told me I could leave. Sophia, you really are a terrible person. You're right, and it's your bad luck that this terrible person, caught you with leverage, Sophia replied in a low, languid tone, straightening her clothes. Besides, let me remind you again, I wasn't planning on doing anything initially. Weren't you the one who came begging? It was nearly 1 in the morning when I got home. The entire day, just the tension from encountering Sophia had left me utterly exhausted. Collapsing straight onto the bed, I didn't even want to move. Closing my eyes, my mind relentlessly replayed scenes from when I first met Sophia, or moments from our time together. Scene after scene flashed by, the familiar moments making me feel dazed, as if everything had just happened yesterday. I first met Sophia during my sophomore year of college. As she was a freshman, a year below me, I, being part of the student council, was naturally assigned to welcome her on orientation day. Back then, Sophia was still an innocent, lively young girl. She had been well protected by her family, possessing a pure kindness and simplicity that immediately made me remember her. Through later interactions, I gradually got to know the real her and was drawn to her. What I hadn't expected was that she would confess her feelings to me before I could confess mine to her. Afterwards, like any other couple, we were deeply in love throughout our college years. During my senior year, determined to give her a bright future after graduation, I worked myself to the bone trying to make money. Yet reality is often harsh. The day I excitedly came home with the diamond ring I had saved up for, planning to propose to Sophia, I pushed open the door to find a strange couple sitting in the living room. They introduced themselves as Sophia's parents. They immediately started criticizing the apartment I was renting, their words filled with disdain. Then, they pulled out a bank card, pushed it towards me, and said with condescending expressions and tones, "You see for yourself, your situation is simply not good enough for our Sophia. We don't mind you kids playing around, and we appreciate you taking care of Sophia these past few years, but we could never agree to you two getting married. Son, you need to know your place. People of our status are beyond what you could reach even if you worked your entire life. Don't dream about marrying up. A sparrow will always be a sparrow. Also, we don't want Sophia drifting away from us, her parents, because of you. You're a smart young man. You should know what to do, right? Every word was like a knife stabbing cruelly into my heart. Even though I wanted to argue, to say I could work hard and give Sophia a future, that I wouldn't let her suffer with me, under their silent contempt, I still lowered my head. The breakup with Sophia had been incredibly ugly. To meet her parents' demands, I had to enlist a few friends to help me stage a scene. In front of her, I belittled her, mocked her for having nothing but money, and then walked away holding hands with the campus beauty. I didn't know what joyful anticipation she had felt coming to meet me that day. I only knew that the last glance I took of her before leaving revealed nothing but desolate silence. After the breakup, I wasn't without trying to secretly find out about her, but I heard she left the country that very night, deleting all contact information of our mutual friends. Seeing Sophia again today, she had changed so drastically. Not only was the former vibrancy and liveliness gone, but her aura had also become somewhat cold and unapproachable. So, she had every right to hate me. After all, the damage I inflicted on her was irreversible. I laughed bitterly at myself, but I really couldn't lose this job. Even knowing Sophia would humiliate me for it, I deserved it, and I accepted it. Just as I was drifting off, thinking about things, a call from an unknown number suddenly came through on my phone. I paused, having a premonition that the person on the other end was Sophia. Sure enough, as soon as I answered, I heard Sophia's slightly tipsy voice. "Michael, get your ass over here, right now." Immediately. "You're drunk," I asked cautiously. If she weren't drunk, why would she call me using such a familiar tone? "Aha, I'm very unhappy right now. Hurry up and get over here. If I don't see you in 10 minutes, you're finished," Sophia threatened softly. Then someone nearby said something to her. She mumbled a reply and hastily hung up. Knowing Sophia, she's a creature of habit. Once she gets used to something, she doesn't easily change. So if she were going to a bar, it would only be the one she used to frequent. With this guess, I didn't care that it was already past 4 in the morning. I threw on a jacket, rushed downstairs, and hailed a cab to the bar etched in my memory. As soon as I walked in, I saw Sophia surrounded by 7 or 8 men. She seemed quite drunk, with only her childhood friend, Chloe, trying to support her. But being two relatively frail women facing several large men, they looked utterly helpless. Seeing this, I strode forward quickly, shielding them both behind me, and glared coldly at the lead man. "Buddy, harassing 2 women in public like this isn't cool. Where did this pretty boy come from? Sticking his nose in. You interested in them too?" The burly man sneered, eyebrows raised. "Look, big brother here isn't unreasonable. Why don't you get in line behind us? Maybe after my buddies and I are done, you can pick up the leftovers." "Looks like talking won't work," I retorted with a cold snort. No more words were needed. I rolled up my sleeves and punched the man square in the face. Before anyone could react, I grabbed a nearby chair, smashed it hard on the ground, and wielded the broken leg like a club, charging at the remaining men. My year as a fitness instructor hadn't been for nothing. While I didn't have bulging muscles, I definitely had the necessary strength. Plus, my preemptive strike caught them completely off guard. By the time they realized what was happening and tried to fight back, I had already grabbed the women and made a run for it. With Sophia on my back, I followed Chloe's directions, twisting and turning through alleys until we finally escaped the bar through a back exit. The bumpy ride and the cold night air began to sober Sophia up a bit. She struggled, wanting to get off my back. "Let me go. I don't want you carrying me. You ungrateful bastard. Jerk. Who gave you permission to touch me?" She cursed while biting down hard on my shoulder. I sucked in a sharp breath but had no other reaction. Instead, I turned to Chloe. "Thanks for looking after Sophia tonight. Let me take you both home." "No way. Don't. I can't handle this one when she's drunk and crazy. You should take her home. She's been yelling about wanting to see you anyway." Chloe and I were actually quite familiar. When Sophia and I first got together as her best friend, Chloe had disapproved of me quite strongly. Sophia often had to act as a peacemaker between us. Eventually, she got used to Chloe and me bickering every time we met. Now, seeing Chloe again because of Sophia, I felt a bit awkward. After Sophia and I broke up, this woman had paid people to spread rumors around campus about me being a jerk, even collaborating with journalism students to write a piece and send it to a TV station. If Sophia hated me the most, Chloe was definitely number 2. I suspected that if Sophia wasn't currently on my back, Chloe might be tearing me apart right now. I'm warning you, don't think I've forgiven you. If it wasn't for Sophia clinging to you for dear life, I wouldn't have let you near her. If I find out you dare bully Sophia again, my methods won't be like the petty stuff from before. I'll make you understand the consequences of crossing someone rich. Chloe delivered her threats with a cold face before calling her driver to pick her up. Watching the car drive away, I slowly carried Sophia into a nearby taxi. Actually, a drunk Sophia wasn't like Chloe described. She didn't throw tantrums. On the contrary, she usually just lay quietly. I gently placed her on the bed and wiped her face with a warm, damp cloth. Just as I was about to get up, she grabbed my wrist. "Don't go!" Her soft murmur made my body stiffen. I looked back, but Sophia's eyes were still closed. "Sophia, I'm just going to get some water and make you some soup to help with the hangover. Can you let go first?" I had to crouch down and coax her patiently. Unexpectedly, hearing my words, Sophia gripped even tighter. "No, you'll run away if I let go." Her childish tone felt like a flashback to our honeymoon phase. A pang hit my nose, and my voice softened involuntarily. "I won't. This is my home. Where would I go? Please let go first. If you don't drink the hangover soup now, you'll feel awful tomorrow morning. Then carry me there," Sophia demanded somewhat petulantly, climbing up my arm towards my body. To prevent her from falling, I had to comply, holding her close. I have to admit, this scene felt incredibly similar to when we first got together, constantly wanting to stick to each other, following everywhere. But unfortunately, I knew that once Sophia sobered up, the relationship between us would drop back to freezing point, or worse, she'd want to skin me alive. The thought of such a scenario made me chuckle involuntarily. Shaking my head, I held Sophia tighter in my arms and walked to the kitchen. Absorbed in worrying about how to explain her presence in my apartment come morning, I didn't notice the faint smile curving on the lips of the woman in my arms. Just as I expected, the first thing Sophia did upon waking was kick me out of bed. "Michael, who gave you permission to touch me?" Sophia demanded coldly, her face grim. "You were drunk last night. I didn't know where you lived, so I brought you back to my place," I explained. "I only have one bed. I couldn't exactly sleep on the floor, could I?" "Humph, who knows what you were really thinking?" Sophia started to get off the bed, but as soon as her feet touched the ground, she sucked in a sharp breath and instantly clutched her stomach, collapsing back onto the mattress. "Is it your stomach again?" Seeing Sophia already breaking out in a cold sweat from the pain, I frowned, quickly ran to the living room to rummage for some stomach medicine, then poured a glass of warm water in the kitchen and handed it to her. "Your stomach always hurts the day after you drink. Didn't we agree you'd quit drinking? Why are you doing it again now?" Perhaps these actions were too ingrained, too habitual. I forgot we had already broken up and instinctively started nagging. But the words had barely left my mouth when I realized how inappropriate they were. Sophia quietly took the medicine I handed her, remaining silent. Just as I was awkwardly trying to change the subject and break the heavy silence, she finally looked up at me and said, "By what right are you questioning me now? Don't forget, Michael, I'm not your girlfriend anymore. You brought me home without permission, and now you want to dictate my life too." Although I had anticipated this reaction, my heart inevitably sank for a moment. I overstepped. "Sorry," I mumbled, lowering my head. "You think a simple sorry fixes everything?" Sophia scoffed, but curled up on the bed due to the stomach pain. Her threat lost much of its force. "I know you hate me, despise me, but right now your stomach hurts. Just lie down and rest. You can deal with me when you feel better." I sighed helplessly, pulling the nearby blanket over her. "I'll go make you some porridge. Eat something before you go home." In the end, Sophia didn't stay to eat the porridge I had specially made for her. Just before leaving, however, She left me with a meaningful sentence. Don't think a little kindness means you can push your luck. Remember, you were the one who begged to stay by my side like a dog, available whenever called. For a fleeting moment, I thought I must be delusional. How could I have thought Sophia's drunk call was an excuse to reconcile? That wasn't her personality at all. Based on her past behavior, when she wanted revenge, she'd let her target see a glimmer of hope only to repeatedly plunge them back into despair. Yes, Sophia's true nature was just that malicious. I ate half the pot of porridge alone. Seeing it was almost time for work, I quickly tidied up and rushed out. With a heavy heart, I spent the entire morning distracted, constantly worrying if Sophia would actually go to the manager and get me fired. Coach, am I doing this exercise right? A female client training nearby had to call out several times to get my attention back. I glanced at the woman using the machine. Your posture is correct, but your point of exertion is wrong. It should be like this. I quickly stepped over to adjust her form. Just as I turned back to add more weight to the machine, I caught sight of a figure standing outside the door. Coach? The woman asked, looking at me quizzically. Keep practicing at this weight for half an hour. I need to use the restroom. With that, I hurried out the door and, sure enough, ran into Sophia and Chloe in the hallway, both looking at me with mocking smiles. Someone's quite the Casanova, aren't they? Seems the reason you couldn't bear to lose this job was because you couldn't bear to leave these pretty ladies, Sophia began, her tone laced with its familiar sarcasm. Makes sense. This club is VIP only. Everyone who comes here has status. If you can latch onto just one, you'll be set for life. Sophia. Chloe hesitantly tugged at Sophia's sleeve, glancing between her and me. Am I wrong? When he dumped me back then, didn't he make such a big deal about looking down on my dirty money? And now, isn't he just shamelessly cozying up to other rich women? Sophia's voice wasn't quiet, and speaking like this in the hallway immediately attracted curious onlookers peeking out from various rooms. My face flushed red. Miss Worthington, if you have issues with me, we can talk in a private room. Please don't disturb other people's classes out here, I said urgently. Fortunately, Sophia didn't want to be gawked at like a monkey either. With a humph, she took the lead, pulling Chloe into an empty studio nearby. Although the intention was to talk, silence fell once we entered the room. Even when Chloe wanted to say something to ease the tension, seeing the icy aura radiating from Sophia and the cold expression on her face, she gave up and retreated to a corner to fiddle with some equipment alone. I hesitated for a long moment before speaking first. There's nothing going on between me and that client. She's a customer referred by a friend. I didn't know why I felt the need to explain. Perhaps subconsciously I didn't want Sophia to misunderstand me like that. What does that have to do with me? Sophia glanced at me coolly. Despite her words, I saw her expression soften considerably. My heart leaped slightly, and I continued, I just want to earn money as quickly as possible to buy the apartment I'm currently renting. The landlord is moving abroad this year, so he offered me a much better price if I can pay up front. There was another reason I wanted to buy this apartment quickly. It was the place Sophia and I had rented together a year after we started dating. All these years I hadn't moved, hadn't changed the door code, precisely because I couldn't bear to part with those memories. Though unspoken, I thought Sophia must have understood the meaning. You're short on money? After breaking up with me, didn't you latch onto another woman? What? Didn't she give you spending money? If I told you I haven't been with anyone since we broke up, would you believe me? I looked at her seriously. Sophia faltered, her expression shifting several times before she finally retorted stubbornly. What does that have to do with me? Be with whoever you want. Michael, don't forget you were the one who verbally tore me down. Now you're saying this? Don't tell me you're going to claim you had your reasons back then, and now you regret it. Seeing the situation about to spiral again, Chloe, who had intended to remain invisible, had no choice but to step in. Sophia, didn't we agree not to fight? Chloe positioned herself between us, soothing her best friend while simultaneously shooting me a pointed eye roll. Michael, how have you not improved at all after all these years? Wasting that mouth of yours. Before I could grasp Chloe's meaning, I heard her continue, speaking to Sophia. You said you wanted to talk properly. How come you turn into a firecracker the moment you see Michael, igniting at the slightest spark? If the time and place weren't so inappropriate, Chloe really wanted to point at both of us and yell. This relationship would fall apart without me. Sophia, perhaps slightly embarrassed by Chloe's words, blushed and lightly punched Chloe's shoulder before clearing her throat and looking at me. It's all his fault. With Chloe acting as a mediator, Sophia and I were finally able to have a calmer conversation. According to Chloe, Sophia hadn't gone straight back to the Worthington family estate upon returning to the country. Instead, she had sought me out directly. Our reunion, it turned out, was a carefully orchestrated part of her plan. Even the drunken episode the previous night, including staying over at my place, was deliberately engineered by Sophia. I had thought only I was foolishly keeping tabs on Sophia all these years, but it turned out Sophia was doing the same. During her time abroad, she often secretly asked Chloe for news about me. Of course, to save face, she told Chloe it was all part of her plan to get revenge for me dumping her. But Chloe, having witnessed the intensity of our past relationship, saw right through Sophia's flimsy excuse. So, with an informant in place, Sophia was practically omniscient regarding my life over the past couple of years. You already found out the truth about what happened back then, didn't you? Although I've never really liked this guy Michael, I have to admit, his actions these past few years have earned my respect. Chloe added fuel to the fire, nudging Sophia towards me and giving me a meaningful look before slipping out of the room, her mission accomplished, leaving Sophia and me staring awkwardly at each other. So you. Suddenly, we spoke at the same time. I scratched my head. You go first. Don't think I came looking specifically for you to get back together. I just wanted to see how miserable you were without me, so I could laugh at you, Sophia said stubbornly. If it weren't for the tips of her ears, hidden beneath her hair, turning bright red, I might have actually believed her. I suppressed a smile, mindful of Sophia's thin skin. So, how were your years abroad? I asked gently. Perhaps this question touched a nerve, as Sophia's eyes instantly reddened. What do you mean by that? Did you think I'd be heartbroken after breaking up with you? You underestimate me. Plenty of guys wanted to date me. I'm sorry. Back then, I just didn't want to hold you back. I lowered my head, looking at my cheap clothes that cost less than $100. Then at Sophia, whose single earring probably cost more than my monthly salary. The familiar bitterness surged again. People from different worlds, even if they get together, the outcome won't be good. Besides, I'm the man. If being with me meant you had to leave your comfortable life behind, how could I dare talk about a future with you? Voicing the thoughts I hadn't dared speak back then felt more like release now. Sophia, your parents were right. People of your status are beyond what I could reach even if I worked my entire life. But what makes you think you can decide what I want? Sophia interrupted. What gives you the right to make decisions for me? Michael, we were together for so long. Did you really not understand what I wanted at all? Yes, you're right. If we were to get married, life would inevitably involve mundane things like daily expenses. But how did you know I wasn't willing to work through it with you? Just because you're a man and I'm a woman, does that mean I absolutely have to follow your arrangements? What did you take me for? Sophia's barrage of questions left me speechless. As she said, back then, I only considered how I would hold her back if I didn't leave. I never once asked if she was willing to stand by me. I smiled bitterly. You're right. I was too arrogant. Humph, good that you know. Sophia snorted coldly. If you had asked me just once back then, I would have faced my parents with you. But what did you do? You didn't discuss anything with me. You even staged that whole elaborate act with others. Well done, Michael. You think you're not good enough for me? Fine. I'm back now, and my parents have arranged matchmaking for me. I hear the guy is quite decent, from a similar background. If all goes well, we'll have our engagement party in 2 months. If you're free, come have a celebratory drink. Sophia practically spat out the last sentence through gritted teeth. After a thought, she dramatically pulled an invitation card from her bag and slapped it onto my face. As my embarrassing ex-boyfriend, come and see what a man who is worthy of me looks like. I remained stunned long after Sophia and Chloe left. My mind was consumed by one thought. In 2 months, Sophia is getting engaged to another man. The image of Sophia in a wedding dress, smiling radiantly on another man's arm as they walked down the aisle, sent a sharp pang through my heart. But even if I felt unwilling, I had no grounds for complaint. After all, I was just the ex-boyfriend, wasn't I? Late that night, having quit drinking years ago, I rare exception and dragged my best buddy, Dave, out for drinks. "Hey, Michael, take it easy," Dave urged, seeing me reach for another beer after finishing a case. "It's fine, I can handle more." My alcohol tolerance was actually terrible. At this point, my consciousness was already blurring. But if I didn't drink, what else could I do? "Ah, buddy, don't be too down. So you missed out on the one you loved, who lives a life without regrets. Try to look past it." The story between Sophia and me wasn't a secret. Dave had even helped me get the job at the gym, so he naturally knew about Sophia coming back and finding me recently. But honestly, back then, everyone thought you two were perfect together, expected you to get married right after graduation, be the first among us to settle down. Who knew? Sigh. Michael, it's not like I'm trying to criticize you, but what you did back then really wasn't cool, not manly at all. If I were Sophia, I'd be disappointed in you too. Dave patted my shoulder. Unable to persuade me to stop, he ended up drinking with me. Do you know what I was thinking when her parents threw that card at me? I squinted, feeling as if I was back on that day her parents confronted me. You should have seen the way they looked at me, like I was garbage. They said there were $5 million on that card, for me to leave Sophia. In that instant I thought, why? Why were they so convinced Sophia would suffer with me? I held onto my anger, determined to prove myself. But then what? I gave another bitter laugh and gulped down more beer. The bitterness of tears mixed with alcohol, making my chest ache dully. They just listed Sophia's expenses since childhood: food, clothes, everything. That long string of numbers was like a sharp dagger, crushing every bit of my dignity. If she left me, she'd still be the high and mighty little princess, showered with affection, a golden child. But if she stayed with me, all I could give her was my worthless love. Dave, tell me, what could I do? Who cares? If you really can't let go, then chase her again. Whatever the outcome, at least it'll give your relationship a proper ending, right? I have absolutely no memory of how I got home that night. But waking up the next day, Dave's words echoed in my mind, and it was like a switch flipped. Yes, even though I knew the chances of getting back together with Sophia were slim, if I didn't try one last time, I knew I'd regret it for the rest of my life. Even if the final outcome was still watching her marry someone else, at least I could make up for the past regrets. No sooner said than done. I immediately called my boss to request a few days off, meticulously cleaned myself up, and changed into some new clothes I'd bought recently. Looking at my refreshed reflection in the mirror, I gave myself a pep talk. You only live once. Time to be crazy just this once. I was a coward back then. I shouldn't run away anymore. But thinking it over, the only person I knew who could contact Sophia was Chloe. Gritting my teeth, I sent her a hefty digital red envelope worth over $1,000 and endured a barrage of her sarcastic remarks before she finally agreed to help me arrange a meeting with Sophia. When we met, it felt like our very first date all over again. I was so nervous I didn't know where to put my hands or feet. All right, what did you call me out here for? Don't you know my time is precious? Sophia complained as soon as she sat down. Sophia, I know I messed up badly before. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just hope you can give me a chance to make amends. As I said this, I deliberately kept it vague, not explicitly stating my intention to win her back. Whatever it takes to make you feel better, whatever you want me to do, even if it means being your dog, I'm willing. My gaze was fixed intently on her, on that familiar face. I instinctively wanted to reach out and touch her. Sophia frowned and dodged slightly. What are you doing? Just talk, don't get handsy. Sorry. I quickly lowered my hand, awkwardly picking up the cup in front of me and taking a sip. The sour, bitter taste exploded on my tongue, my expression instantly twisting. Sophia suddenly burst out laughing. Is my coffee really that delicious? Turns out, in my nervousness, I had grabbed Sophia's coffee by mistake. No wonder my watermelon juice tasted so strange. I always disliked the taste of coffee, but Sophia, coincidentally, had a cup every day. Back when we first got together, she loved switching our cups to watch my face contort when I drank the coffee. She'd laugh just as happily then after her prank succeeded. Thinking of this, I silently cursed my past self again. Such an adorable girl, lost by my own hands. Michael, we're both adults. Some things shouldn't need to be spelled out. I know why you had Chloe ask me out today, but what makes you think I'd just be waiting here for you when you decided to come back? After laughing for a moment, Sophia put on a serious expression again, looking at me coldly. I opened my mouth, but my mind went blank. The disappointment in Sophia's eyes grew. She gave a self-deprecating laugh. And here I was hoping you'd have something meaningful to say. Looks like I overestimated you, Michael. You're still the same as before. Haven't changed a bit. With that, she stood up to leave. I instinctively grabbed her wrist. Is there any point to this? No, Sophia, listen to me. I quickly shook my head. I know whatever I say now, you'll think I'm just making excuses. I admit, breaking up with you like that was wrong. It disappointed you deeply. No, actually, whether it was back then, or the period after we met again, all my actions must have disappointed you. But I'm not asking for forgiveness now. I just hope you can give me a chance to make up for the hurt I caused you. I poured out all my thoughts in a rush. Even if in the end you still hate me, despise me, at least I don't want to remain a coward in your memory. Please, give me one chance, okay? I looked earnestly into Sophia's eyes, waiting as if for a final verdict, so nervous my palms were sweating, but I didn't care. After a long pause, Sophia finally sat back down, crossing her arms and tilting her chin up haughtily. Fine, I can give you this chance. Just like you said, you can work like a dog for me as compensation. After that day, Sophia indeed stopped refusing my invitations. I threw all my energy into proving myself, wanting to use these short 2 months to make up for all the things we had wanted to do but never got the chance to. The smiles on Sophia's face gradually increased, and she stopped deliberately saying sarcastic things during our time together. Yet, deep down, I felt a persistent emptiness. I knew that although our relationship was no longer antagonistic, she seemed to be drifting further away from me. On the last day, I asked her to meet me at the place where she had first confessed her feelings to me. We walked side by side on the tree-lined path of the university campus, and shoulders width apart. Just one reach and I could hold her hand. After much hesitation, just as I mustered the courage to reach out, Sophia sidestepped. I could only mask the disappointment on my face with a smile. Do you remember this place? How could I forget? I always regretted confessing first back then. Otherwise, I could have heard how you would have confessed to me, Sophia replied with a smile, acting perfectly normal. Sophia. I stopped walking and called her name. Sophia. She turned around, puzzled. At that exact moment, the lights along the path instantly dimmed. Relying on my memory of where Sophia was standing last, I fumbled forward a couple of steps and then snapped my fingers softly. In the next second, small fairy lights strung on the trees lit up one by one, starting from one end of the path and moving towards the other. Under Sophia's astonished gaze, I slowly knelt on one knee, pulling out the ring from my pocket, the ring that was 2 years late in appearing before her. Sophia, I've always owed you a proper confession. Today is the last day of our agreed time, and I want to make it up to you. You once said that a formal confession starts with a bouquet of flowers and the words, I like you. Saying this, as if by magic, I pulled a large bouquet of sunflowers from the backpack behind me and presented it to Sophia. Sophia, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? The moment the words fell, both Sophia and I had tears streaming down our faces. But Sophia didn't take the flowers, nor did she answer my question. She just looked at me quietly, saying nothing. My hand gripping the ring box tightened involuntarily. Not wanting Sophia to feel pressured, I forced a smile. You don't need to feel obligated. I just wanted to give you what I owed you. I was just thinking, if you had let me walk away today without any gesture, I really would never have spoken to you again. Sophia turned away to wipe her tears, then faced me again, her eyes red, and accepted the things from my hand. Michael, do you know how incredibly annoying you are? I'm sorry, Sophia. What else can you do besides apologize? Make me cry, and then abandon me? Sophia glared at me again. You're the worst. As a man, all you do is run away. She was right. I was the worthless one. From the past until now, It had always been Sophia making the effort to come towards me. My eyes stung, and the apologies hovering on my lips were swallowed back down. Thinking hard, the only thing I could offer was a dry guarantee. If you don't like something, I can change it. Whatever you hate about me, I promise I'll never do it again. Nice words, Sophia mumbled, turning her head away slightly. Did you prepare all this yourself? Yes, because you like sunflowers. I picked these out at the flower shop this morning and wrapped them myself. The ring. I bought it 2 years ago wanting to propose to you, but not wanting to dwell on sad memories, I quickly changed the subject. Do you like it? It's barely acceptable, Sophia said, holding up the flowers and examining them. I was wondering why you were carrying that backpack all day. So this is what was inside. So you arranged for people to set up these lights too? Must have cost a bit. I scratched my head, slightly embarrassed. Actually, I just asked Dave for a favor. Sure enough, my words earned me another eye roll from Sophia. This bouquet wrapping is really ugly, but the smile on her face betrayed her true feelings. I smiled along with her. On the way home, looking at Sophia's profile, I finally asked the most important question. Sophia, are you really getting engaged to another man tomorrow? Sophia was silent for a long moment before tilting her head up to look at me. What if I said yes? What would you do? Don't tell me you'd actually dare to crash the engagement. Her words sounded like a joke, but they made me seriously consider it. After these 2 months together, I could feel Sophia still had feelings for me. Combined with what Chloe had said before, that I was the first person Sophia sought out upon returning, it meant she likely hadn't even met this supposed matchmaking prospect. Knowing Sophia, she wouldn't force herself to be with someone she didn't like, so crashing the engagement wasn't entirely out of the question. I carefully glanced at her expression, noticing the playful curve of her lips, and suddenly realized something. The engagement is fake, isn't it? Silly, Sophia chuckled. Isn't it a bit late to figure that out now? Sophia, I already gave you a chance. Are you going to let go of my hand again now? Sophia held out one hand towards me, the other holding the sunflowers. My whole body jolted, and I quickly grasped her hand tightly. Never. Not even if you beat me to death, I'll never let go. So, have you figured out how you're going to explain things to my parents yet? Nope, I answered confidently. But I'll prove with my actions that I won't let you suffer even a little bit for being with me. Oh really? Sophia smiled. But wasn't someone just begging me for a job not long ago? Licking my boots? Mentioning that incident made my face flush red instantly. I told Sophia the truth, because all the money I earned before was invested. Dave and I started a small company together these past 2 years. It's doing pretty well, and I've saved some money, but raising the full amount to buy that apartment outright on short notice was still a bit stressful. So Dave introduced me to the fitness instructor job. The hours didn't conflict with my company work, and the pay there is really good, so I felt a bit embarrassed. After all, these past 2 years, striving to catch up to Sophia's level, wanting to prove I was worthy of her, I had done all sorts of jobs. Groveling for money was something I'd gotten used to. Idiot. Didn't it ever occur to you why the landlord suddenly insisted on full payment to sell you the house? Huh. My brain lagged for a moment. Actually, the moment you agreed you could pay the full amount within half a year, my mother had already implicitly allowed me to come back and find you. You're so dense. Otherwise, why do you think I couldn't come back after being sent abroad? So that's how it was. With Sophia's explanation, all the things I hadn't understood suddenly clicked into place. I looked excitedly at Sophia in front of me, unable to resist pulling her tightly into my arms. Thankfully, people truly in love don't miss each other. Thankfully, after all the twists and turns, the person by my side at the end is still you.